Hey guys, welcome back to our April 29th video lecture. Today we're going to be talking about the End of Camelot. So let's go ahead and get right into it. One day in Dallas. In late November 1963, President Kennedy and the First Lady traveled to Texas to build support for Kennedy's upcoming re-election campaign. Just before noon on November 22, 1963, the Kennedys joined Texas Governor John Connally and his wife in a motorcade through downtown Dallas. It was a beautiful sunny day, and people crowded the streets, eager to catch a glimpse of the presidential couple. Watching and cheering, Miss Connally leaned over and told the president, "You can't say that Dallas isn't friendly to you today." Moments later, gunshots rang out. Next slide. The death of a president. The motorcade took the president's car past the Texas School Book Depository, where Lee Harvey Oswald, a worker in the building, waited on the 6th floor. As the cars came within range, Oswald fired 3 shots. 1 bullet missed the motorcade. 2 bullets hit Kennedy, 1 in the neck and 1 in the head. 1 of the bullets struck Governor Connally as well. The driver rushed both men to the hospital. Governor Connally would survive the attack. Doctors frantically worked to revive Kennedy, but at 1 p.m., he was declared dead. Next slide. LBJ becomes president. 2 hours after the shooting, Vice President Lyndon Baines Johnson met Jacqueline Kennedy with the president's coffin at the Dallas airport. They would return to Washington together. Before the plane took flight, a local Texas judge swore Johnson in as the nation's 36th president. Jacqueline Kennedy stood beside Johnson as he took the oath of office. The image on this slide that you can see of Jackie standing next to now President Lyndon Baines Johnson, it is one of those immortal photos in U.S. history that just can't fully be appreciated or explained. Trying to imagine what Jackie was feeling at that time, hard to even put into words. Next slide. Lee Harvey Oswald is murdered. Dallas police quickly captured Oswald, charging him with the president's murder. Authorities were aware that Oswald strongly supported Fidel Castro in the Cuban Revolution and had lived in the Soviet Union for 3 years. Before they could learn of Oswald's motivation for assassinating Kennedy, Oswald was killed as police attempted to move him to a more secure jail. With scores of newspaper and television reporters as witness, a local nightclub owner named Jack Ruby jumped out of the crowd and shot Oswald in the abdomen. Television viewers watched in horror as live news cameras broadcast Oswald's murder into their home. I highly suggest you guys watch all of the videos this week. The videos that I've put up for you are really excellent sources of information. And again, with this happening in the 60s, so much of this is recorded and you can see this stuff happen as it happened on that day. Next slide, the burial of Kennedy. On November 24th, a horse-drawn carriage transported Kennedy's body from the White House to the Capitol building. There, hundreds of thousands of people walked past his casket to pay their final respects. The following day, up to 1 million people lined the streets of D.C. for the funeral procession. Kennedy would be buried at Arlington National Cemetery, where an eternal gas flame sits beside his grave. A nation mourns. Next slide. People mourned Kennedy's death across the nation and around the world. Most Americans old enough to remember it can recall exactly where they were when they heard the news of Kennedy's assassination, much the same way as Americans who were alive for 9/11 can remember exactly where they were. A poll taken at the time reported that about 2/3 of Americans felt the death of the president to be a loss of someone very close and very dear. President Kennedy was beloved by many, many millions of Americans. So what really happened? Kennedy's assassination raised many pressing questions. Had Oswald acted alone, or was he part of a larger conspiracy to murder the president? If he did not act alone, with whom was he working? And why did Ruby murder him? Eager to uncover the truth, President Johnson created a special commission to investigate the assassination. Next slide. The Warren Commission. Headed by the Supreme Court Chief Justice Earl Warren, the commission became known as the Warren Commission. After a year of analyzing thousands of document pages, considering more than 550 witnesses, the Warren Commission concluded following its 1964 report. And this is an excerpt from the report. On the basis of the evidence before the commission, it concludes that Oswald acted alone. Therefore, to determine the motives for the assassination of President Kennedy, one must look to the assassin himself. Clues to Oswald's motives can be found in his family history, his education, or lack of it, his acts, his writings, and the recollections of those who had close contacts with him throughout his life. And final slide. We may never know. Many Americans were not convinced by the Warren Commission's findings. In the years since Kennedy's death, numerous conspiracy theories and assassination myths have emerged. Some detail plots by the CIA, the FBI, or organized crime groups. Others involve secret agents from Cuba, the Soviet Union, or other countries unfriendly to the United States at this time. However, because Oswald was unable to testify, the full story of Kennedy and his assassination may never be known. Okay, so that wraps up the video lectures for the week. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay healthy, stay well, and as always, I miss you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.